A week ago, we saw hate manifested another way in the worst massacre of Jewish people since the Holocaust. More than 1,300 innocent lives lost in Israel, including at least 27 Americans. Children and grandparents alike kidnapped, held hostage by Hamas. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Innocent Palestinian families, and a vast majority have nothing to do with Hamas. They're being used as human shields.
That was President Biden speaking at the Human Rights Campaign dinner last night. We're joined now by his national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. Good morning to you. The U.S. is supporting Israel's military plans, but is urging Israel to avoid civilian casualties. But as we've said, more than 2,300 Palestinians have already been killed. They're running out of water. They are running out of food. Are you satisfied with the way Israel's carrying out this operation?
Well, thanks for having me on, Martha. As President Biden said, innocent Palestinians who have nothing to do with Hamas should be treated just like innocent civilians anywhere, which means they should have access to food and water and medicine. And we have made that clear publicly and privately since the beginning of this operation in response to the absolutely heinous and savage terrorist attack that took place last Saturday. We are in touch with our Israeli counterparts. We're in touch with the United Nations to help secure the necessary supplies of food, water, and medicine to the citizens of Gaza, those Palestinians who have nothing to do with the barbaric terrorists who carried out this attack.
Well, let me ask you again, are you satisfied with the way that Israel is carrying out this operation then?
What I'm here to do, Martha, is to explain what the United States' position is. And our position, as President Biden has stated it, is straightforward. We believe in the protection of civilian life, we believe in the laws of war, and we believe in the full and necessary access to humanitarian supplies. And we're going to keep working on that. We're going to work on it with the Israelis, we're going to work on it with the Egyptians and Jordanians, we're going to work on it with the United Nations. We're going to do that every day. And I'm not going to react publicly to every report of everything that's happening, but rather keep my head down, keep our heads down until we have been able to achieve what we believe is the necessary level of support to innocent people.
So how do the refugees get out at this point? How do the Palestinians get out? How do Americans get out?
Well, first, with respect to the American citizens in Gaza, Martha, we have been working round the clock. We have an entire dedicated team that is working on nothing but this, helping American citizens who are in Gaza be able to get safe passage through the border crossing to Egypt. That has been difficult because of the ongoing operations and, frankly, because Hamas has intervened in some cases to make it hard for Palestinian Americans and others to be able to travel to the border crossing and get through. We're working that hard. Our goal is to ensure that every American who is in Gaza has safe passage out, and we will not rest until that happens. And then with respect to the Palestinian population more generally, Palestinian civilians, we are working, again, as I said, with the United Nations, with Egypt, with Jordan, and with Israel to ensure there are safe places for them to be able to go where they will have access to food, water, medicine, shelter, and also where they will be safe from military operations.
And what is the latest on the American citizens who have been taken hostage? President Biden told 60 Minutes that the U.S. is going to do everything in our power to get them home if we can find them. Do we not have any idea where they are in Gaza at this point?
Well, first, like Lieutenant Colonel Lerner, who was just on your program, I'm going to be very cautious about what I say publicly on this because we want to make sure that we preserve our capacity to ultimately secure the recovery of the American hostages being held by Hamas. But I will say this, it is a dynamic situation. We cannot say that we have a fixed location for every American or even that we know every American who is being held. We know there are 15 unaccounted for Americans at this point. We don't know how many of those are being held as hostages, and we don't know how many of those tragically are deceased and their bodies have not yet been identified. So we are working having sent hostage experts to Israel with our Israeli counterparts on hostage recovery options, we are also working with third countries on every possible avenue to secure their release. And I won't go further than that, other than to say that for President Biden, he has no higher priority than to get those Americans back.
I want to talk about the northern border. I talked about that with the lieutenant colonel as well. But as you know, the Iranian foreign minister met with the leader of Hezbollah and called on Israel to stop the attacks in Gaza. There is a report this morning that Iran sent a message through the UN, or to Israel through the UN, that Iran would have to intervene if the Israeli operation into Gaza continues. Is that accurate?
I cannot confirm that report.
Well, tell me what you're seeing on that border and how concerned you are about what is happening with Hezbollah.
We are concerned. We see a real risk of escalation on the northern border, and that is why President Biden has been so clear and forceful in saying that no state and no group should seek to exploit this situation to their advantage or should escalate the conflict. And in fact, he has now sent the USS Eisenhower from the United States towards the region to give additional capacity to respond to any contingency, and also to send a clear message of deterrence that no one should get involved in this, no one should escalate this. And the United States is showing that as well as saying that, and we will continue to monitor the situation closely on that northern border.
You just said respond to any contingency. What are you talking about there? How could they get involved if this deterrence does not work?
Well, I'm not going to speak to hypotheticals. What I'm going to say is that the United States will have in the region a substantial amount of capacity, and that the United States is going to continue to message, both publicly and privately, any potential actor not to get involved. As President Biden said, quite simply and straightforwardly, don't. And that is the message the United States will continue to send.
Thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.